Hello, hello. It's been a while and I'm so happy to be with you. I'm Robin Smith, the founder of this group, the Rock Your Relationship Sisterhood. And today we are talking about 3 tips to save your relationship, especially for busy, successful women. So put a yes in the comment if you can identify with being a busy and or successful woman who is suffering in her relationship, whose relationship isn't getting what it needs, isn't feeling fulfilling. This is what we're talking about today, and I hope you can benefit. I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 relationship saving tips. So first of all, it can be really easy for your relationship to suffer the busier you get. I talk to many clients who are parents, who were both parents, have full jobs, or maybe one person is making the money and the other person is the stay-at-home parent, totally full on with the kids, with all the projects that there are at home, or maybe it's summer now and the kids are out of school and you have all the balls in the air, just struggling to get through the day, keeping it all together. And so no wonder your relationship might be struggling in this case, because you don't probably have enough time dedicated to nurturing your relationship. You may be feeling like you aren't getting your needs met from your partner, or like they don't hear you, or they don't really understand where you're coming from. Or maybe you feel like you're not getting included in the important decisions. Raise your hand if that's happening for you. Maybe you feel like your partner doesn't make time for you or room for you. Maybe you are feeling like you have the same patterns in communication or lack of communication that keep repeating. You find yourself in what feels like a similar argument, maybe about a different topic, over and over again. So put a yes in the comment if you feel frustrated about recycling the patterns and feeling like you don't know how to get through that. Here's the thing, the busier you are, the easier it is for your relationship to take a backseat. It's so easy to think, okay, I'm successful. I've got the kids, I've got the family, I've got the home, I've got the job, all the things. Maybe you have the money, the support in other ways. Maybe you love your work. Maybe you have great friends, but what tends to fall through the cracks is your relationship. Put a yes, I know that's me, if that's happening for you. So the busier you are, the more important it is that you make time for your relationship. So this is my number 1 tip to start off with our 3 tips to save your relationship. Is the first thing you may have to do is take some stuff off of your plate so you're not so overwhelmed. You may need to think about what you can say no to, instead of saying yes to all the volunteers for this board and that board and the PTA and all the things, and helping out your friends and your parents. And maybe you need to say no more, so you do have time for your relationship and family. Or maybe you simply also maybe you need to delegate more responsibilities to others. Maybe you need to give the kids more chores. Maybe you need to split more of the chores with your partner. Maybe you need to actually hire somebody to come in and clean the house. If you're already getting the house cleaned, maybe you need to get it cleaned more often. I talk to so many women who have the money, and yet they just find they don't hire enough help. It's so easy to be like, I can do it all, I don't need to pay somebody for that. But if you're suffering because you're not getting close, you're not getting connection, you feel like you're moving farther and farther away from your partner, then that is a sign that you really do need to delegate and take some stuff off your plate so you can make time to connect. So really think about, what is it I can take off my plate? Do I need to hire an assistant? Do I need to hire a housekeeper, a gardener? Maybe if you don't have a lot of money, there's a teenage kid you can hire who's out of school right now and they could use some work. Maybe there's somebody you can trade with, that you can do something for them and they can do something for you. There's always a way. Trading is awesome. Hiring teenagers can be really awesome. see what you can do to get some help for babysitting, for chores around the house. Maybe you need an assistant at work so that you aren't overwhelmed, because we know that whenever mommy's overwhelmed or you as a partner is overwhelmed, you're going to have less energy available for the people that matter most. And for you and your health. And the more you're overwhelmed, the more stressed out you are, the harder it is to be just emotionally available for other people, because you've got so much in your mind, or so much like that you're so drained energetically, you're going to have a hard time showing up and giving your full love, your full attention and care to others. So say, I will, if you will, look at what you can do to get some support around the daily chores or whatever it is for you, to help take some stuff off your plate so you're not as stressed out. And then you can put more energy into your relationship, the relationship that matters most to you. Number 2 is to then take that time that you're creating and carve it out for your relationship. Everybody's heard of date night, and yet how many of you actually make date night happen? You don't have to go to an expensive or fancy restaurant or concert. You can simply have a walk in the park, go to the beach, go have a picnic somewhere. You can keep it simple, but make it so that this is uninterrupted quality time. Those 2 things are key. It's uninterrupted. You're not going to pick up your phone. You're not going to go take care of the kids. You're not going to turn on the TV. You are choosing to actually connect and do something that you both enjoy doing. So you are having quality time, whether it's a conversation over a meal, whether it's having some fun at an amusement park, or playing a game that you love to play, but something that helps you to connect on a level that maybe you haven't connected on a long time. Maybe, do you remember like when you first got together and all the fun you might have had and how you used to play and laugh? So something that rekindles that spark for you, where you're laughing together, playing together, hearing each other, connecting on a deeper level. And the other thing I want to add in here is sex, because so many women tell me they're not having sex monthly or even every 3 months. They're not hardly having sex. And that is definitely going to take your relationship down, whether it's you or your partner's choice to not be available for intimacy. It doesn't have to be intercourse, but it needs to be some kind of sexual connection that you are prioritizing, even if it's just once a week, or maybe you're already at every 3 months and you need to get to once a month, or maybe you need to get to once every other week. Whatever you need to do to make this more frequent. I am telling you, ladies, this is an essential part of connecting on an emotional and physical level with your partner. Your relationship is going to turn into friendship zone, and you are just going to be side by side, unless you're like in your 80s and you've already like feel like you don't have the energy or your parts aren't working, but if that's not your excuse, then you've got to do it. Just make it happen. And if you don't be surprised if your partner doesn't stick around. Okay, this is like super essential. So I'm going to put a plug in for that, for your relationship to thrive on an intimate level. So this is point number 2, the quality time, both with fun and relaxation and with intimacy, whatever that looks like for you. Connection is currency. People need to feel connected, and they need to feel like they're seen and like they're understood. So say me too, if you know that's true for you, you're not getting that kind of connection that you are longing for from your partner. Maybe you don't feel like they care about you anymore, or they don't like turn and face you when you ask them something. Maybe you're always like, ships passing in the night, walking and talking and not really like connecting on a deeper level. So relationships need attention. You need to tend to a relationship just like you would tend to an infant or a plant that you put in the ground. You don't just walk away, right? And just leave it up to the weather. You come back, you give it good soil, you give it fertilizer, you give it love, you give it water. You need to do that for your relationship, regularly tending it so that it can thrive. Point number 3 is that part of this tending the relationship is a deeper connection with communication. Now, you may have covered that if you're doing date night and really having a meaningful conversation, but if you're not, if your date night is more like play, that's great. Make time for meaningful conversation. And I'm going to say at least once a week. Meaningful conversation means that you are sitting down again, undistracted, you're giving your full attention to your partner, you're turning off all the bells and whistles on your phone and on other devices. No other person is going to walk in and out of the room. You are scheduling this time where you can share, have a heart sharing. You can communicate about what your vision is for the future, about what you need in the relationship, about what you long for, about what you're afraid of, about any boundaries or limitations you're coming up against. And you do your best when the other person is talking to listen, to give your undivided attention. So you're having open and honest communication on all of these levels and doing your best to listen and fully understand where your partner is coming from. Take out any of that need to be right and to prove your point and to win. So you're not as likely to get into an argument, and really make this a sacred time to really hear and be supportive, and also to share and get support. Meaningful conversations are just as essential as food and water in your intimate life. And so often, especially women, tend to hold back. They hold back their needs, they hold back their desires, they hold back their truth, their frustrations, for fear of abandonment or rejection. And when they do that, guess what happens? They blow up with it later. They blow up with all this resentment, or they just keep getting more and more withheld and more withdrawn in the relationship. And when you do that, you're creating more distance. And then again, don't be surprised if you're just feeling like ships passing in the night, because your relationship is not getting tended in the way that it needs to. So I'm putting a big stake in the ground for you to practice all these things. 1, carve out time by delegating more, by asking for help, by saying no more often, so you have more time to put into your relationship. 2, create that time in your relationship. Don't just fill it up with other things. Plan on date nights, whether it's a simple 2-hour evening together, or maybe you spend a weekend together and really go away and drop in together. That can be so healing and nurturing for your connection. And you need to nurture your connection. And 3, you need to do that not just with fun or relaxation or sex, but you need to do it with communication. You need to foster communication that says, I'm here with you, I care for you, I appreciate you, I want to know you, I want to understand you. This type of communication is essential. So those 3 things. Put a me 3 in the comments if you are going to try and implement all 3 of these things. And what I want to say is, I'm giving you these 3 important tips, and I know from the work that I do that there may be lots of stuff in the way of that all being easy for you, of it being easy. I don't mean just the logistics of carving out the time, but I mean of actually making a deep connection, of actually connecting on an intimate level. So often people have blocks to intimacy. They have stuff that gets in the way of really allowing themselves to open up. Maybe they feel ashamed of who they are. Maybe they feel I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough. Maybe you feel like if I open myself up, I'm going to be rejected. Or maybe you feel so judgmental of your partner, you're holding back, you're too cautious to allow yourself to really appreciate them. There's so many things that can get in the way of this deep connection that I've been talking about. Maybe the patterns are just so fixed that you don't see a way out, and every time you try to connect, you just get frustrated, you get in an argument. Maybe you don't feel trusting, or your partner doesn't feel trusting because there was a breach of trust. So I get it. There can be a lot of things that can get in the way of your capacity to create this sweet, loving connection that I'm guessing you crave and everyone deserves. And that's why I want to put in a plug for you to get support if implementing these 3 elements isn't enough, or you've already been doing that, it's not working for you. And that is getting professional support. And that can look like working with me or working with someone else you're drawn to, where you have someone who can look at the pattern that you're in, the fear of intimacy, or the argument that keeps coming up. So for some people, they want to do this work as a couple together. And I think that's super valuable if you're both on board with that and you both want to do that work. If one person's dragging the other, I don't recommend it. It usually doesn't go very well. And if you know that work is more your work to do because you're seeing that you're in the same pattern in every relationship you've been in, or you keep pushing people away, or keep, getting easily frustrated, or you're triggering each other all the time, whatever it is, it might be your own work to do. And I think for most people, it's both. But what I want to let you know before we sign off here is that I am opening a couple spots on my calendar for what I'm calling a summer coaching special. And this is for either couples or individuals who want to take that next level of, or to receive that next level of support and take a next level of commitment to themselves to do what it takes to save their relationship. Okay, because if you've invested so much time and energy into your relationship, isn't it worth it to just do everything that you can to know, you've done your part, so you don't just throw the relationship away. It can cost so much pain to do that and feel alone. And it can also cost a lot of energy to do that, because the devastation can be huge when we lose a relationship. And it can also cost a lot of money if you have to get a divorce, right? To spend that money getting 2 separate homes and separating your finances. Oh my God, that's huge. So it is worth an investment in yourself to help yourself have a healthier and happier and more connected relationship. So what I've done, if you'd like to take that next step with me and at least explore what might be possible, like I said, I've got a couple spots on my calendar for women or couples who do want to take a deeper dive, and it's just for a summer coaching package. So it's not my usual 6-month commitment, it's a 3-month commitment. And all you need to do right now is grab a spot on my calendar so we know we're going to have a time to chat and just talk about what you're going through, whether I'd be a good person to support you, and whether my package is a good fit for you. So that's what I am calling you to do right now. And I'm going to put that in the chat. So go to the link below in the comment section, wherever you're watching, and click that, and it'll open up my calendar. I just have spots through the next few days. So if you don't see one that works for you, please reach out and let me know, hey, I need a different time. I'm happy to work with your schedule, but this is what I've got right now. And I'd love to meet with you. So when we get together, we're going to look at, where you're stuck and where you want to be. And I'm going to give you a real solid takeaway for what I see could really help you move forward. And of course, we can look at whether you want to take a bigger step into getting some support to really take your relationship to the next level. So click that link below, and I look forward to meeting you there. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.